This is Talk 90s to Me, where we choose our school outfit via a special computer program. We know what it's like to have people be jealous of us. We hate high school boys, as if, but decide to make a project out of a new girl. We save people in war-torn Bosnia by sending them our skis. And we actually change people's lives for the better, despite being a massively privileged rich girl who lives in a house with columns from 1972. I'm Miranda Sawyer, and yes, this week on Talk 90s to Me, we are talking the ridiculously fun, campy, teenage girl classic, Clueless. And with me to discuss all things yellow plaid, I am delighted to welcome Helen O'Hara, editor-at-large of Empire magazine, co-host of the Empire Film podcast, and author of Women vs. Hollywood, The Fall and Rise of Women in Film. Hello, Helen. Are you totally bugging?
I'm totally bugging. Always. But I'm delighted to be here.
Okay, so look, we're talking Clueless. I am quite excited to talk about Clueless, simply because, as ever, as regular listeners know, I didn't watch anything in the 90s. I was out, but I didn't get Clueless during the 90s, and I have come to Clueless as an adult.
Right.
And actually really, really enjoy it. Having thought it was just a nonsense. I don't know what I thought it was. Didn't think it was for me. I have watched it several occasions now. I really like this film. It is excellent.
It is excellent.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's so smart. It's one of those films, like I probably saw it as a, I guess, certainly teenager, maybe even young teenager, and, really enjoyed the comedy, really enjoyed the colour and the life and the vivacity of it. And then when you go back to it as an adult, there's so many more layers, there's so many references. It's so smart, it's so considered, it's so well cast and well performed. I think it's a bit of a masterpiece, actually. And I think there is this temptation to dismiss things that are especially aimed at teenage girls, but this is one of those things that is magnificent. I genuinely can't think easily of a better teen movie. I can think of other ones maybe on this level, but better? I don't know. I don't even think Mean Girls is better. I think Mean Girls is the closest we've got to this.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me because also there's not a moment wasted is what I think. I found myself, so I rewatched it, obviously, because we were going to be talking about it. And I found myself, because I'm old, kind of rewinding it and thinking, what was that line again? Mm-hmm. It's like there's a line after line after line right from the start. And you think you kind of have to adjust into that, because every character has a funny line.
Yeah. It's way existential. But yeah, it is. It's just packed. I feel like the script must have gone through so many drafts because, everything is just sharpened to its maximum point. And it is hilarious. It's really funny. I feel like, there are other films where they're trying to deliver the dramatic moments and they slightly step back on the comedy. Even at the most dramatic moments when she's having a bit of a breakdown in this movie, it's still hilarious. You feel for her, but you're still laughing at her. God bless her.
Yeah, I mean, even when they're about to be mowed down by a large lorry, it's really funny. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Even when she's held up, by gunpoint.
But it's an Amelia. It's a really important designer, And I still cannot hear that name without thinking that's a really important designer.
It's a really important designer. You have to go down.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give a few facts about Clueless. It came out on July the 19th, 1995. It was written and directed and produced by Amy Heckerling. Shall we talk Amy Heckerling? Because obviously without this would not exist. She'd made Fast Times at Ridgemont High in 1982 and launched a whole load of people from there.
Load of careers from that.
Like Sean Penn.
Yeah.
But also Nicolas Cage, Forrest Whitaker. Mm-hmm. And she also did National Lampoon's European Vacation in 1985 and Look Who's Talking. I have watched this one.
Yeah.
Look Who's Talking, Look Who's Talking 2, Look Who's Talking Now. So she was pretty successful, right?
She was, but I mean, you've got to remember this is something my book was about, Women versus Hollywood, was about the fact that female directors had a lot less room to maneuver, I think, than their male counterparts. They still do, but they definitely did in those days. You couldn't afford a flop. You couldn't afford to not hit. And so she was very good at her job. She is very good at her job, but she's also been very, very lucky to kind of be able to sustain her career through that amount of time. I mean, very vanishingly few other female directors at that time were able to make that many movies in a row. And to then be able to make something like this, an original project, not just something the studio has assigned you, was even more rare and unusual. So fair play to her.
All right. So the interesting thing about Clueless, though, is it did go through different iterations before it became Clueless. It had different titles as well. So it was called Clueless in California.
Okay.
And before that, it was I Was a Teenager. Isn't that brilliant?
Oh, I love that. I would absolutely see that. But like a riff on I Was a Teenage Werewolf or one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't it good? I mean, you know, Clueless is possibly better, but I Was a Teenager is brilliant. And before that, she pitched it as a telly show and it was called No Worries. Right. All of which sounds good. There's a thing about Clueless actually that feels to me a bit like a telly show. So there's like, it's like a series of really fun scenes.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't have much of a plot, really, but it kind of works anyway. I mean, they did a TV spin-off afterwards, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's sort of, it was good, but it really missed Alicia Silverstone, I thought. So, but at the same time, it was just close enough that I remember watching it and thinking, this is fun. I like this. I'm having a nice time. But yeah, it doesn't need much of a plot. I mean, it is obviously slightly riffing on Jane Austen's Emma, which is, I think I saw somebody sum up pretty much all of Jane Austen's books as it's just people going to each other's houses.
Yeah.
And here they don't even have to go to each other's houses. They meet up in school. So it all takes place there. It's great.
It's true.
But you know, that's where the action of life is, right? That's where the drama is when we meet each other wherever it is.
Yeah, that's very true. So it's definitely based on Emma. And basically, Amy Heckerling said she read it in college. She said it reminded her of old telly shows like Gidget. I don't know what Gidget is, but that kind of made me laugh. Like, okay. But she said it because there's something really basic about it, which is true. It's essentially, you know, a privileged person a young woman trying to get people together, ignoring herself, and then realizing, oh, what a surprise that love was in front of her all along.
It's an eternal story, isn't
it? Yes, it definitely is. But she knew that she wanted to set it in with teenage girls, so in Beverly Hills, and she wanted it, inverted commas, to be happy. So I think that a lot of kind of maybe teenage films were, you know, maybe a bit darker, centered around boys, you know? And this is different.
I mean, if you think about the early 90s and you know, when they were going through that development process, you know, you have all of those really quite dark River Phoenix movies at the time. Do you remember, like, you know, his parents were on the run terrorists in one. He and Keanu Reeves were in a doomed relationship in another. I mean, it was quite a dark time. There was also the Keanu Reeves one about suicide. You know, there were a lot of really heavy teenage movies. I mean, even a comedy at the end of the 80s like Heathers was dark. Incredibly dark, so twisted. So to come back with something as peppy as this was, in a quiet way, kind of radical, because, like, you know, the sort of the Breckin Meyer character of the sort of the skater boys, that was more the kind of mainstream culture in the 90s. And these kind of very perky, bubbly girls from Beverly Hills were almost counterculture in a weird way.
Yeah,
in a
that's
weird
so
way.
True, because it's essentially, especially in America, it was grunge.
It was grunge,
And the thing that really makes me laugh about Clueless is she wears plaid, but she's wearing it like as a cute little like mini kilt.
Yeah.
And top, you know, like it's designer version of kind of grunge. Do you know what I mean? It's really funny. And yeah, you're right. It's like what was considered to be the kind of cool culture for young people at that time was slacker culture.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely not that. It's completely the opposite. And Amy Heckerling did so a lot of the language in Clueless, which is really funny and everybody still uses. So like, you know, as if is one classic thing. But also the thing they say, which I really like, is outie when they leave. They go, outie.
I'm outie.
That really makes me laugh. But the way that they talk, she got by sitting in classes at the Beverly Hills High School. And one of the things that she noticed is, though obviously in that school they didn't dress in complete designer wears, but that all the girls were constantly grooming themselves, which is the case now. I have a 15-year-old. They are constantly brushing their hair, checking their nails, doing their eye. You know, I mean, it's just constant.
But they've been brought up in a world where it is very presentational. You know, we're all meant to be on Instagram or whatever, looking our best. But just generally, 15-year-old girls always did, I think. There's probably also, I mean, I remember all those sort of articles in the magazines about, you know, getting your eyeliner right and day-to-night makeup. I thought it was going to be a big part of my life. I don't think I've ever done it once.
No, it's very, very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so she decides that she's going to make this film, right? And it was not a great time to make it. So apparently these teen targeted for movies like, I don't know, these PCU and Airheads. And anyway, they came out, they didn't do very well. So Fox was going to do it. They got scared. Everybody passed on it. And then Paramount just said, okay, we'll do it. So this is great. So she's going to make a movie. This is fabulous. And she decides completely that she wants Alicia Silverstone. And Alicia Silverstone is really young. And the reason why she wants her is she's been in this film called The Crush.
Yep.
And also she's been in a series of Aerosmith videos.
Yeah.
I have watched these videos.
Yeah.
So she's Aerosmith. How does one explain Aerosmith to people who don't know Aerosmith? They're like a rock band, and they're like so rock. They're ridiculous. Steven Tyler's always got his top off. They're constantly playing the guitar in kind of lonely places on the top of a hill or something.
Yeah, probably standing on a rock in the desert, right?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, that or in a teenage, girl's bedroom, that kind of thing. And anyway, she plays this teenage girl in this video called for a song called Crying, and she plays it opposite Stephen Dorff. I think,
Right, yes.
Very hot at the time.
Yeah.
And anyway, she's great. And she's really funny and she's very teenage. And in the video, she gets a tummy pierce and she gets a tattoo and she steals a car off him and all this kind of stuff. And then in the end, she chucks herself off a bridge. Like he's trying to stop her chucking herself off a bridge. And then it's a bungee jump, ha, ha, ha. And she gives him the finger at the end. Anyway, like this sounds absolutely ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's a stupid video, right? But Amy Heckerling watched it and said she was basically on her treadmill, of course, it's America.
Of course, yeah.
Watching MTV, of course, it's America. She sees this video and she said, I just went cuckoo bananas. She's funny and beautiful. Anyone who shows even a glimmer of that mix becomes a major star. I'm thinking of people like Sally Field and Goldie Hawn, right? Which I don't quite get, but like she was young enough and funny enough and actually acting properly within a mad, silly old pop video.
Yeah, but those videos at the time, like they would tell these big epic stories. I mean, Liv Tyler, of course, like was she in another one with
She was
Alicia
in another
Silverstone?
one with her, yeah.
Yeah, I remember them together.
So Liv Tyler was basically the lead singer of Aerosmith's daughter. Yeah. Also a very young and very beautiful woman. And she was also in a video for them with Alicia Silverstone.
That's the one I remember weirdly. And I just remember the two of them. I mean, again, we didn't see a lot of depictions of female friendship on screen at the time. Like there was Thelma and Louise and then nothing, and they thought there would be like a big follow-up to that. And there just wasn't. It was always treated as, well, that's something you do on TV or maybe in like a Hallmark movie. We don't do that in cinemas.
Yeah, that's so funny. And they don't have friends.
We don't like ladies in cinemas. We make movies for men and then the girlfriends and the wives come with them. Yeah. And so there was this tendency, and there has been, and there remains this tendency to think that female-focused films are niche. And so it always is a battle. And I think it's also a battle because like a young woman like that needs one breakthrough to start her career. But until she has it, you've got nothing. And there are very few breakthroughable roles every year because, again, most of the roles go to men. Most of the lead roles are men. Most of the substantial roles are men. And you get into this crazy situation.
Yeah, so, that's mad. Yeah, it's very true. So anyway, Alicia Silverstone plays our star.
Yeah.
Cher Horowitz. She is great. She has a friend called Dion, who's played by Stacey Dash, who I understand now, unfortunately, is a bit MAGA. So we're very sorry about that. But she's great in the film.
She's incredible in the film. They make a beautiful double act in the film, and she makes a perfect sort of not a straight woman because she's very funny herself, but just like a perfect counterpoint, I guess, for sure.
She's also much older actually than everybody else who in the film. So genuinely, Alicia Silverstone is playing a 15-year-old who turns 16 in the film. She's 18. Brittany Murphy, who's also in it, plays Tait. She's also the same age. Yeah. Everybody's pretty much the same age, but Stacey Dash is 27 and has a 6-year-old kid. Yeah. So she's just in a different zone headspace, as you would be. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, the cast is great. I love it, that cast.
It's really stacked when you've got all of these small roles filled out by like Dan Hedaya as her dad and Wallace Shawn as one of her teachers. I love The Princess Bride, so anything with Vizzini in it instantly has my vote. It's just a really stacked cast. I mean, even the people in kind of small roles Like Jeremy Sisto at the time looked like he was going to be the next heartthrob. He's Elton.
And he plays Elton, who basically essentially Cher tries to get Ty with Elton.
Yeah, and he's
the hot hunk.
He's the hot hunk. And he actually went a slightly more interesting way. If you think about, I don't know if you've seen Waitress, but he's actually the schmuck in Waitress.
Oh, okay.
And he's very good at that. And he's kind of played that role a few times. And I kind of feel like he got it because of this, like, because he's so good at being the schmuck in Clueless.
Yeah, that's true. And then I have my two favourites in the film. So obviously Paul Rudd's in the film.
Obviously.
He plays Josh, who ends up being Cher's love interest and all that kind of... We all love Paul Rudd. That's fine. Yeah. Paul Rudd is St. Paul. We love him. But my two favourites are Donald Faison, who plays Murray.
Amazing.
He is so good. That guy is so good. He leaps off the screen.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. And then he goes on to play for a really long time. He's in Scrubs. Yep. He's so great in that film, man.
And it is one of those performances where even though it's a small role and even though he's there supporting the girls, you're just like, who is this guy? He's so funny. All that little sort of relationship back and forth between him and Dion is just beautifully done.
Yeah.
Like they love each other, but they're also teenagers, so they're very bad at it. And but they're playing out these grand romantic gestures the whole time. And they sort of have this very...
And he calls her woman all the time. She hates
and
her.
they've got this very melodramatic view of each other, and their own relationship and their own importance in the world. I just love them. I love them so much.
Yeah, me too. And then another one of my favourites, Travis, who's played by Breckin Meyer and who ends up being basically Ty's correct love, And he is a skater boy who is like, on one level doesn't do very much and on another level has all the best lines. I mean, he literally, the first time you see him, he decides to try and kill himself and they're like, sorry, I'm not laughing. I mean, but it's played for laughs. It's absolutely played for laughs. Within the class, he decides he's got a bad result. He's going to chuck himself out of the window and the teacher just goes, no, suicide now. No, you can't do it now. And he's great. I love him.
He has a smile that lights up the place.
Yeah, you see both sets of teeth.
Yeah, he's
great.
It's like a toddler smile. Do you know what I mean? There's no guile to it. There's no manipulation. He's just, every single thing he's feeling, you see immediately on his face.
I love him. He's and he plays it quite like Bill and Ted, doesn't he? That's who he is. He's Bill and Ted. He's a skateboarder. Yeah. He's great. By the end, he's sober, very improbably. But, that makes me love him more. Anyway.
I think he would have gone on to star in Jackass, that kid.
Oh, yeah. See, I mean, he's my ideal. Yeah. There is my ideal man. I love him. All right. So all these fantastic people are cast, right? I just want to say, then they first get the script, they don't like it. Because they don't like Cher. So, when Alicia Silverstone first reads it, she's like, at first I didn't like her. I thought, who is this girl? I had nothing in common with her at all. I thought she was a materialistic, annoying little bitch. But then I saw she cares about her daddy so much and she's trying so hard to help people and do these good things. But I think that's true. When you first see her, you can't work her out because you're used to seeing these people, which are the rich people, as the baddies in drama.
Yeah. And look, they kind of are the baddies in life, right? I mean, I'm a bit lefty, but if you were that rich and you're living in Beverly Hills and you've never known a minute's want for anything in your life, most of them are not great people. Some of them are not great people. Let's say not most, but I'll say some of them are not great people.
You can say most.
I can probably say most. But what I think, she does have a really good heart and she does genuinely want to help people and she just doesn't know how much she doesn't know. And I think that's also quite a good metaphor for just being a teenager because you feel everything really deeply. You have deeply held convictions and you just are not aware yet of what you don't know. And so she's just a particularly extreme case of that. She has a particularly limited worldview because of the way she's been brought up. And I think it's a great kind of stock character. I mean, a film that comes a few years later and I think owes a huge debt to this one, Legally Blonde, kind of plays the same thing. There again, you have this incredibly privileged, incredibly fashionable and beautiful and lucky girl forced to kind of confront some of the things she doesn't know and kind of growing from that. But Clueless did it first,
Yeah, definitely. And also Paul Rudd doesn't really like any of it either. He was a bit like he read, because of his age and because he's really talented, he'd read a lot of teen movie scripts. Yeah. And then gradually as he's reading it, it's like, oh no, now I get it. It's really smart. Yeah. Actually, I really enjoy it. But at the beginning, he really didn't get it at all. I've got a top pop fact. Do you want a top pop fact?
Oh, please.
Okay. So when Donald Faison read for the part of Murray, he read with Lauryn Hill.
Wow.
I know.
Because she was in Sister Act 2 around this time as well, which is an incredible performance, by the way. I love her in that.
And she went to school with, I can't remember the other guy in Scrubs, but she went to school with him.
You're kidding.
No. I've got all the top facts, but I can never remember the actual details, as in his name.
Is that Zach Braff?
Yeah.
Maybe. Wow.
She went to school with him. There you go.
That is incredible. Yeah, that's blowing my mind. Wow.
Thank you.
I thought it was going to be something about Paul Rudd's failure to age since this film was made.
Also very weird. But, Hollywood does that to a man, I think. So, we love this film.
We do.
We do love this film. What are the bits that you like about this film? Because there are many funny lines. There are many funny moments. Which is the bits that you remember and enjoy?
I absolutely adore her preparation for her date, where she is, putting a roll of uncut cookie dough in the oven because she's heard you should always have something baking when a man comes around, and literally can't even handle pre-made cookie dough, which I think it's a tiny beat, but it's lovely. And all of her preparations for that I just find completely charming. I love her driving lesson. Like, I totally paused at the stop sign.
She's very funny.
I love the bit where they're all standing there for their gym class, which is a tennis lesson.
Yeah, so good.
The chat there with Amber, who's the kind of bully in the school, is amazing. And then the opening debate as well.
Oh, the Haitians.
It doesn't say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty,
She's so funny.
It's off the
There
charts.
are some absolutely great lines. I wrote some down. There's just really even funny things so when Josh comes into, comes in, you realise that he's in the house because he's playing Fake Plastic Trees, right? Which is the song that I really love. And she walks in and goes, yuck, the maudlin music of the university station. Wah, wah, wah. I love it.
Oh, and genuinely, her trying, when she realises she fancies him and then doesn't know how to act around him, and she's trying to talk about Ren and Stimpy being way existential, I adore that.
She's so funny. So Travis, I just wanted to mention, he's got loads of great lines, but there's a bit where they all get given loads of what they call tardy points. Mm-hmm. And tardy points are basically they're late, and he gets the most. And he basically makes a speech. Comes up to the lectern.
He's won something.
He thinks he's won something. He goes, I didn't have a speech prepared, Many, many people contributed to my tardiness. I'd like to thank my parents for never giving me a ride to school, the LA City bus drivers for taking a chance on an unknown kid, and last but not least, the wonderful crew at McDonald's for spending hours making those Egg McMuffins, without which I would never be tardy. And there's loads of brilliant, I don't want to quote them all, but there are so many. There's a bit when they're playing tennis, and obviously the balls are kind of shooting past. And there's various excuses, but we get to Amber, and she says, my plastic surgeon doesn't want me doing any activity when balls fly at my nose. And Dion says, well, there goes your social life. I'm sorry. That is funny. That is very, very funny. And there's loads. Ty's got a couple of good ones where, when she first arrives at school as this kind of person that they decide they need to shape, she says, so Cher says to her, don't sell yourself short. You've got something going for you that no one in this school has. And Ty goes, oh, I'm not a virgin. Sorry, I'm just going to keep quoting it because there's so many. Because when she's mean to Cher, when she gets upset because essentially Ty decides she falls in love with Josh, Cher has just not passed her driving test, and she says to her, "You're a virgin who can't drive." Which is a great...
And she's got a head wobble when she says it.
She's turned into Cher a bit.
Ferocious.
And Cher is upset, but then just goes, that was way harsh, Ty.
Way harsh, Ty. I say that quite a lot. And I don't know anyone called Ty, but I say it a lot.
You can say it in your head as well.
You can, yeah, absolutely do.
It's really good. There's a bit where she's trying to help people in Bosnia, and she is going past with skis, and they're going, why are you taking the skis? And she says, people need things. Don't you think that includes athletic equipment? She's completely great. I'm sorry.
I'm sure that's top of their list, really.
Yeah, it's so good. There are a few kind of, if we wanted to analyse it from a kind of point of view of now.
Right.
There are kind of moments to do with, there's a character called Christian who comes into the school. He'd been away for a bit. He comes back. He's got a kind of quiff. He's very hunky. And Cher decides that she wants to, A, go out with him and B, lose her virginity to him. And we have a great scene with her and her dad, with Christian coming around to take him out, take her out. And the dad is really fierce with him. But anyway, it turns out that he's gay.
Yeah.
This is treated on one level completely brilliantly in that, like, they just go, oh, he's gay, you know, and that's kind of hilarious. But the only thing, and also she should have a gay friend, really obviously, like a character like that, she would always have a gay friend. But he's just not very gay.
He's a kind of, it's a weird thing. They've clearly tried to make him quite James Dean, you know, that kind of 50s look. He drives 50s cars. He's really into retro stuff. And she just takes this as, oh, well, this is the rare high school guy who's worth bothering with. Like, he has a sense of style. And it is part of her cluelessness that she just doesn't see. Yeah. Just doesn't see the signs that
he's chatting at the barman, that he wants to hang out with the dudes at the end.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think that there might be some slight changes, I think, to that now.
Yeah. Because it's a character almost that could be really fabulous and is just kind of squashed down a bit.
He's a little bit squashed down. I guess it's good that they didn't go for the sort of stereotypical gay character in that, especially because stereotypical gay characters in the 90s were not always well drawn. But I think there would definitely be she would be less clueless in that respect of her life now, I think.
I read around the topic, and one of the things I think is quite interesting, so that Cher has her best friend, Dion, is black, she's white. That's never mentioned. That's kind of amazing. But then other, people of colour who have kind of come to the film later go, well, the problem is that then she's never developed. She just is just she's like a kind of white version of a black person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's nothing particular there about, it doesn't say anything about race. It's not trying to engage with race at all. I guess beyond this idea that Murray is influenced by hip hop culture and is trying to address her in ways that
she doesn't like.
She doesn't like. And so that's about as close as you get to engaging with any aspect of black culture, and it's tangential at best. You know, it doesn't they could have had the same conversations if he was a white kid who was interested in hip hop. Yeah. I think it's a fair comment, but then I guess also it's Beverly Hills High. I'm not sure that's the place you go for racial commentary on America.
No, not really. No, I think you are correct. Okay, so when it comes out, this film, it does very well. Correctly, it does very well. It doesn't do quite as well as, hang on a minute, Apollo
13?
Yes, you were right. It's Apollo 13. So it's a modest hit.
Yes.
Is what it's called. But, it does really well. It cost $12 million to make dollars. It grossed $88 million worldwide, which is pretty good, I think. Yep. But it does really, really well in the home video market, of course. And then it's really since then, it's funny because they call it a cult following. I just think that generations of teenage girls have arrived at it over and over and over and over, and they really, really like it.
Yeah, but then you're failing to reckon with the fact that teenage girls are considered a minority group for these purposes, I guess. So it is a cult. But I think it's one of those things where, in Hollywood, they want to make their money back at the box office, right? And fewer films do, especially at the moment, because I think people were trained out of going to the cinema during and since the pandemic. But for a long time, until Hollywood itself broke the model, most films made most of their money well after cinemas. They made the money back on TV, on home video, on airplane sales, all this kind of stuff. And there it has had legs. I mean, there it shows the value of making a really good film is it's still around making money 30 years later, and people are still buying the special edition DVDs or whatever else,
Yeah, or buying it on Amazon Prime or whatever.
Yeah. So, the best business model ultimately is to make something really, really good. And so this one has always had legs. I'm sure it's made 10 or 15 times that easily since.
It is last year, so 2025, it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being, quote, culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
All of the above. Absolutely.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I completely agree. And obviously you can see how it plays out. Oh, this has also reminded me something. So I was going to say it plays out obviously in other films, but also notoriously in the Iggy Azalea hit Fancy, which has got Charlie XCX in it, although Charlie XCX doesn't look like herself yet. But it's literally Clueless. Yeah. She plays Cher in in Clueless, which brings me to, of course, the music in the film. I forgot to mention. I've mentioned Radiohead, but the music in the film is really, really good.
Yeah, it's real. It feels right for the characters as well. I think it's a function of Amy Heckerling going to the schools, talking to the kids, getting what they were into, and so it feels authentically baked into each character.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. I mean, there's some really funny moments made with it as well. So the song that is playing when Ty kind of collapses and Elton picks her up is "Rolling with My Homies" by Coolio, and he asks her, "Are you rolling with your homies?"
I'm doing the hand gesture right now.
The hand gesture is very important.
Very important.
And I mean, and that is then their song that she gets heartbroken over. I mean, that's a great song anyway. But there's loads of Counting Crows is in it. It opens with Kids in America. Not by the Muffs as opposed to the more familiar one to us in the UK, Kim Wilde. So it's got a really great soundtrack that you could play now. Yeah, it's completely excellent. And Radiohead also appears again. They play Fake Plastic Trees when they when they're in the car. Josh plays it again. So do you think that there is an influence that throws forward, because obviously we can say Mean Girls. I mean, there are other films because there's an idea that people decided that you could make films kind of based on classics like Emma. So Cruel Intentions. And
there was which was an Othello film set in a high school. Yeah. Not a great one.
And 10 Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About You is probably the closest.
That's based on The Taming of the Shrew.
That's based on The Taming of the Shrew and is also hilarious. I mean, really genuinely, good. Really.
Another one of my daughter's favourites.
Great teen movie, great script, incredible supporting cast there. You've got people like Alison Janney just turning up for no reason. Incredible film. So it did start a mini trend of those. There was also an Emma the following year, which is probably coincidental because it would have been well into production when this came out, but there was a moment of kind of Jane Austen being very back in fashion.
That's the Gwyneth Paltrow one.
That's the Gwyneth Paltrow one. And then also the BBC one would have been 96 as well, right? So that would have been a major thing. So Jane Austen was kind of in the zeitgeist.
She's always
somewhere.
In the moment, in Britain though, isn't she?
She always is.
She's never off.
But it was a cool one to kind of put her in this situation, I guess, and that worked really well. And then I think it has shaped every single teenage film since, to be honest, and certainly every single good teenage film since. I would think, I think Booksmart, they would cite it as an influence. I think Legally Blonde, it's all over Legally Blonde as an influence. I don't think Mean Girls would exist without it, although that also has a little bit of Heathers in it. All of these films, I think, owe something to Clueless. It is a giant of that genre. And I think it's one of the films that has helped that genre get a bit more respect, which it deserves. But like I say, I think things that teenage girls like is the most suspicious group of things for everyone else in the world. If teenage girls like a band, other people in the culture seem to be very suspicious of that. The Jonas Brothers or whoever only break out after someone other than teenage girls likes it. Taylor Swift only becomes respectable when her fans age out of their or her fans age out of their teenage years and become 20-somethings.
Yeah, there's a prime 90s example of this, which I have used before, which is essentially Blur. If you follow Blur's career, as soon as, in inverted commas, the teenage girls like it, which is Park Life, then they're not taken as seriously by the NME boys. And once they make an art move to the left to literally shed those fans, then they're considered to be cool again. It is nonsense, obviously. Yeah. Pop music doesn't exist without teenage girls, and teenage 100%. Girls have got the best taste in pop music.
But even the Beatles, I feel like, when it was teenage girls front and center, they weren't respectable. When they started kind of experimentation, then sure.
When they go a bit proggy.
Exactly.
A bit boring. That's what I say. Anyway, speaking of teenage girls, obviously Alicia Silverstone is a teenage girl. Yeah. She's a teenage girl when she makes this show. She's playing a 15-16-year-old herself. She is 18. Anyway, I have dug up an interview with the lovely Alicia Silverstone for Rolling Stone, done by a guy called Rich Cohen, all right, with Alicia Silverstone, who is 18. Alicia Silverstone is a kittenish 18-year-old movie star whom lots of men want to sleep with. That's literally the first line. That's literally the first line.
Oh, boy.
And he basically puts this to her, and she says, that part's not me. Silverstone says, what people think about me, of doing with me, it can be gross. He pursues this throughout the whole of the article. He calls her a knocked-out, dreamy-eyed little Rapunzel.
Oof.
I mean, it's just like he makes kind of weird, pervy remarks about a picture that she shows him of when she's 6 years old.
Oh,
6-year-old
no.
bikini-clad Alicia on all fours on a white shag rug. Anyway, she has straight blonde hair that falls around her shoulders, wide eyes, and a mouth that people describe in ways that she finds inappropriate. I mean, he's just it's really, really horrible. And then it comes to the bit that the reason why he says it is that basically she's not like a supermodel. Mm-hmm. She is a girl that you could conceivably date. And I'm like, could you though? A girl you did date even, raised to the highest power. She has the brand new look of a still wet painting. Touch her and she'll smudge. Oh. It's revolting, honestly. It is absolutely revolting. And it's a prime example of what happens in those days, which is essentially you send a guy to go and interview a young woman, and the appeal of the young woman is deemed to be just her looks as opposed to her talent. She's completely brilliant in the film. She's in every scene. She's absolutely hilarious. She's completely great. That is not touched upon. It's just what she looks like and what she does to, how it makes her feel. But also what that means is that then she gets asked questions about this.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically, how do you feel being a sex symbol? What's it like? And there is no answer to that. No. Like, this happens over and over again in the 90s. It's really annoying. But this is what she says, which I think is really great. She says, I can't speculate on how people see me, but I do wonder how they can see me as a sex symbol. I can't see anything about me that equals sex. It's strange to think of what other people might be thinking of me. I want to be an actress. I want to create other people. I don't want other people to create me, right?
Quite right.
Quite right. And that is true of whether or not you're an actress or not.
Yeah.
You don't want other people to create you. You want to be allowed to be created. But at that time, if you were a good-looking young woman, you were created by these kind of lecherous older men into something that you weren't.
It was really gross. And I feel like, because we in the 90s, we thought we were pretty progressive.
Yeah,
and
we didn't even know it was going on. We didn't know that was the sea we were swimming in.
We were like, yay. Essentially, it was kind of like the start of the Barbie movie. Like, feminism is won. We're here. Yay. And then you look back and you're like, what was going on? And it was all of these middle-aged men sent to interview teenage stars about their sex lives, not about the work. And it was considered completely normal background noise. Nobody raised an eyebrow really about it. I genuinely feel like sometimes I had this up until like when the Me Too revelation started coming out in 2017. I remember thinking for the first couple of days, well, this is all going to blow over, because it always blows over. And only really slowly kind of realizing, oh no, maybe something is actually shifting, and maybe this time it won't blow over. And maybe people will realize this is wrong. And maybe I'm only just realizing that this is wrong and not just the way of the world, because we did just shrug it off and try and move on with our lives the whole time.
Yeah, because there's no other way of doing it.
There's no other.
Because you want to live your life.
Unless you want to be furious the entire time, that was what you kind of had to do. Yeah. That's really gross.
It was so gross, honestly.
So
anyway,
gross.
I just brought it up because it was making me go,
yeah.
So after that, after Clueless, obviously Alicia Silverstone becomes a star. What do you think? I mean, what's her work like been since then? She's become kind of a vegan activist a bit, hasn't she, as well?
Yeah, she has. I think she hasn't had the career she should have had for her talent. And I think some of that may be her choosing to step back for family reasons, for life reasons. I think it may also be because of this kind of grossness. There may be an element of, I don't want to get into that again. But she definitely was never as big a star as I think she should have been. I think she got typecast quite early. I don't think she got given scripts this good. She was seen as the bubbly blonde, and that wasn't particularly something that anybody seemed to want for a little while. And it's weird, like I do a Christmas movies podcast called Bah Humbug, and she was in a Christmas movie just last year, I think. And when you see, I watch a lot of these movies, and a lot of them are terrible. And part of the reason they're terrible is they have slightly underwhelming, non-charismatic stars. So when you get any kind of real star in one of those movies, it feels like a breath of fresh air. And she came and did one of these movies, and you're like, oh, thank God, I'm in good hands. This is someone who can hold the screen. This is someone who can hold my attention. This is someone who can inject this, frankly, very thin material with actual meaning and charm and wit and everything else. And she has that. And this is 25, 30 years later. She still has that. And it just has not been used because there wasn't the material there. At the very least, she should have been leading an incredibly good sitcom for 15 of the last 30 years, right? At the very least. And I think it's an absolute travesty that she hasn't had a much, much, much bigger career. She's had some hits, but like nowhere near the level she should be on.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? I mean, other characters, have done, obviously Paul Rudd, he's done really, really well. Brittany Murphy, I feel like we should talk about. She died age 32, 2009. It was like, I mean, what it seems to have been is almost like a mistake. Yeah. She was very, very anemic. She, it wasn't really discovered and she died. Yeah. It's really a tragic story.
Deeply, deeply tragic. And again, a really talented comedic actress and dramatic actress as well. She'd done both. She probably had the biggest breakout, I guess, of the girls in this movie. She probably had the most chances after this, but then she was taken so young. I mean, that's no age at all.
No, it's just really terrible.
Yeah, really, really heartbreaking.
Really awful. But anyway, I feel like we should, obviously finish on an upbeat thing. And one of the things I would like to say is watching Clueless last night completely lifted my mood. I was overworked. I was feeling really glum. I watched Clueless and it's just great.
It's great. I mean, it is like, visually, it looks like sweets. It looks like a bag of Starburst or something.
Skittles.
Skittles. Exactly Skittles. Taste the rainbow, right? I mean, seriously. But it's colourful. It's sunshiny. It's so witty. It's so clever. You're not dumbing yourself down to have a good time. Your brain is still engaged and it's having a good time. And especially in the modern world, that's a pretty rare thing. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, me too. It's absolutely great. Hooray.
Hooray.
This week's Talk 90s Queen is Vanessa Rowlands. Queen Vanessa is one of our fabulous Patreon members who's decided to divert some of her extensive clothing allowance to her favourite 90s pod. Thank you, Queen Vanessa. Hope the recent races didn't mess up your nude patent stilettos too much. And it's also a huge thanks to this week's Talk 90s King, King Greg. No surname, obviously. He's royal. Thank you, King Greg. Hope your slow walk checking out the epaulettes of fainting soldiers provided you with all the joy you can handle for one day. If you too would like to become Talk 90s royalty, then why not pop over to patreon.com and search for Talk 90s to me. For just a few pounds a month, you'll also get extras like special episodes on 90s stupid stuff and the chance to get your hands on some Talk 90s to me merch. Oh, yep. And if you can't afford to do that, we would love you to email us. We're doing our festival episode, as you know, and we want your torrid 90s festival tales. Just email Talk90s to me at podmasters.co.uk or DM us or give us a voice note on Instagram at Talk90s to me pod. Now, on with the show. Let's quickly do the outfits.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things I would like to say is why hasn't there actually been some kind of app that is a Clueless app so that you could put your clothes in and do the same thing that Cher does by just spinning your tops around and spinning your skirts around and getting the perfect outfit?
Yeah, it should be much, much more of a thing. In this day and age, there's absolutely no excuse for not having that.
No.
I'm appalled.
Yeah.
I know that some shops tend to, they claim
I don't want
to
a
have
stylist.
It. No.
I just want a kind of really
on my home computer kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also in those graphics, I really like the old school graphics on it. Okay. So the fashion is quite important. There are some kind of very, very well-known outfits. The yellow plaid is very, very well-known. Yeah. And that is like literally a kind of Halloween outfit. You could wear that and everyone would know what it is.
I mean, it used to be only Rupert the Bear wore yellow plaid and she absolutely stole it from him. And now nobody associates him with anything at all.
Not at all. She's definitely taken that. There's also the moment where she goes on a date and she comes down in a kind of white slip dress and he goes, what have you got on? And
you're not going out like that.
And she goes, it's Calvin Klein, obviously. But she says, yes, I'm going to put something over the top. And she puts like a see-through kind of
chiffon shirt.
Shirt over the top. She looks absolutely brilliant. There is, of course, the classic Elia moment where she is robbed.
Very important designer.
Of her phones. I feel like we should also mention the phones because phones were not common in that days, and they've got little antennae. They're great big clumpy things.
Yeah.
But, she gets robbed for the phone and for her bag. It's very, very sad.
Very sad.
But she deals with it very well because she's fabulous.
And luckily the dress isn't damaged, which is the main thing.
Yeah, she just lies down for a little while. What other outfits that would you...
I remember the black and white check with the filmy shirt underneath over the mini skirt. Again, all of the socks, sort of over the knee socks.
Oh yeah, that's such a teenage look.
And especially kind of Clueless again in that era, especially.
There's also a moment where she wears something that is very 90s, which is basically a white t-shirt with a kind of black slip over the top.
Yeah,
and that's like very. I mean, that's still
90s. Kind of baby doll t-shirt thing going on. Yeah, very much so. And then also just like when Tait is trying to do Cher and become Cher.
Funny.
And I love that montage at the dance where she's really awkward in what she's wearing and she keeps changing the way she's wearing her plaid shirt over the top and tying it around her waist and tying it around her shoulders and trying this and that and the other thing, and it never quite
And she wears
right.
she wears dungaree shorts.
Dungaree shorts.
I'm sorry, I'm very fond of a pair of dungaree shorts, but like that's to show that she's a bit awkward.
Yeah, and she doesn't really know what's going on. But bless, she's just perfect for Travis. Like, just let them together at the beginning.
Yeah, and also there's a really great bit where there's the analysis of all the different tribes in the school, which Cher does for Tait, and then a bit later on, she basically describes what everybody was wearing, and it's the slacker look, which I mean I have to say I was a big sucker for at the time.
Grunge girl,
where like kind of really baggy jeans over the top of kind of check boxer shorts, but pulled down, enormous t-shirt. I mean, it's a hot look. I'm sorry, she was wrong about that, but she didn't like it.
Yeah, I think there is such a thing as too low slung with the jeans, and to be fair, they sling them like fully below the curve.
Yeah.
That's top of the thighs. There's no bum coverage there whatsoever.
There is not one. But yeah, I think, I mean, personally, I think out of the people there, I think that Travis has got a very strong look.
I think he does. I agree. Yeah. We're all about Travis, basically.
Yeah, to be honest. Okay, so here at Talk 90s to Me, we of course have a Talk 90s Spotify playlist to take us through a party in the valley. Which track would you like to add, Helen?
Oh, no, it's not really very party, but I was thinking this is more like a chill out end of the evening. You're driving everybody home. Because I used to be the designated driver. I'm very cool. Yeah. I didn't drink. So I was the designated driver, and some of my best memories are just driving around at like 2 a.m.
That's what driving is for.
Taking everybody home and just like dissecting whatever had happened that night. And we used to listen to the Blue Tones Putting Out Fires.
Perfect.
And it's a beautiful song, and I think it's lovely.
Okay,
just very chill.
Okay, so we could watch Clueless.
Yeah.
And then we could listen to that to take it down a level.
Drive around, pausing at all the stop signs, listening to the Blue Tones.
Excellent. Okay. That was Talk 90s to Me, featuring the excellent Helen O'Hara, who can be found on the Empire podcast and in darkened rooms across the land, eating popcorn and definitely switching her phone all the way off. Is there anything you would like to plug, Helen?
I have a couple of books that came out last year. I've got a Quentin Tarantino dictionary. So if you're into QT, this will take you right through his career in handy to access alphabetical mode. And also 50 film ideas you really need to know, which is basically just kind of an introduction to film, history, theory, the whole lot.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so kind of helpful sort of start. If you don't want to do a film studies degree, this will give you most of the same information.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, if you join our Patreon, not only will you get the chance to buy some cute merch, such as Talk 90s to Me mugs, long sleeve t-shirts, sorry, the dog is just going a bit mad, Talk 90s to Me mugs, long sleeve t-shirts, bucket hats. You'll also get special extra episodes about stuff I like from the 90s that's a bit too odd for the main, that's a bit too odd for the main show, and you might become our Talk 90s king or queen for a week. And even if you don't join our Patreon, why not subscribe to Talk 90s to Me on your podcast app and follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky? You can leave a voice note for us there if you want to chat about festivals. We're Talk 90s to Me Pod. Or you could send us an email so you can tell us about your own 90s and what you might want us to feature on the show. That email is talk90stome@podmasters.co.uk. Howdies.